No one's above the law in the United States. That's a foundational principle that I've talked about, coming from Federalist 69, coming from the structure of the Constitution.
I don't think the president is above the law. No person in this country, no matter how high or powerful, is above the law.
I believe that no one is above the law under our system, and that includes the president. The president is fully bound by the law.
No man is above the law.
Does he have that power?
No man is above the law, Senator.
I agree. No one is above the law.
Donald Trump and the supremely corrupt court seem to be in cahoots lately, paving the way to let him get away with a coup. Among other things like, making bribery legal, making homelessness illegal, and giving blanket immunity to a wannabe dictator, thus essentially ending the American empire right back where it started by reinstating a monarchy. Not even being hyperbolic there, with Justice Sotomayor's dissent clearly warning a president should not be a king above the law. And so close to our republic's 258th birthday. Sad. Meanwhile, the narrative on the left shamelessly shifts to the topic of replacing the current president and Democratic nominee over the performance of a single debate, albeit a pretty bad one. But Joy Reid, host of MSNBC's The Readout, absolutely demolished the Supremes and the diaper-wearing wannabe dictator in a segment of her show today that really gets to the heart of what Americans should be focusing on and what they shouldn't.
So donors can tell Joe Biden what to do. And Dr. Joe Biden and apparently even Hunter telling him what to do. So let me tell you what this show is going to do. We are going to pay all of that the same amount of attention. The same amount of attention will go to that debate as Republican lawmakers and conservative media paid to the insurrection and the 34-count felony Donald Trump was convicted of, and the $500 million penalty he owes the state of New York for bilking taxpayers and insurance companies, and the jury finding that he sexually abused E. Jean Carroll in a Bergdorf Goodman's dressing room in the 90s and then defamed her. We will give it exactly that same energy.
Hell yeah, Joy. Pay them haters no mind. And what an excellent teardown of the Republican hypocrisy of completely ignoring all the glaring character faults of Donald Trump. And she keeps that same energy in all of these clips that I am very excited to share with you. Starting, of course, with her takedown of Von Schützenpants himself.
Mr. Trump, did you just fart?
No, I didn't fart. And you can't prove that I farted because I've never farted ever, like no one ever didn't fart.
Never forget that.
Because what I know is that Donald J. Trump cannot be allowed back into the White House. Full stop, period. Because Donald Trump is a dangerous, felonious wannabe autocrat who is vowing to release hundreds of violent insurrectionists from prison by pardoning them, to open internment camps on U.S. soil and round up millions of undocumented migrants to put there, and sick the Justice Department on his declared enemies. He has called for the execution of people he doesn't like, including former Joint Chiefs Chairman Mark Milley. He has admitted he wants to be a dictator, like his favorite dictators, Vladimir Putin, China's Xi Jinping, and the dictator of North Korea, Kim Jong-un.
And obviously, that is not hyperbole. Here's a quick refresher of Trump loving on dictators harder than his own daughter.
I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. President Putin was very, very strong.
He even called me brilliant. Isn't that nice?
Kim Jong-un, he really has been very open, I think very honorable.
But this next part is where she really starts going in and paints the incredibly stark picture of what it would look like if Trump comes to power with all these recent rulings.
It means turning this country literally into Gilead from The Handmaid's Tale, except with tariff-induced 100% inflation. And if you were to combine a Trump autocracy, a fully Christian nationalist Republican Party in control of both houses of Congress, and the current Supreme Court majority, well, Katie, bar the door and unleash the devil, because we would be finished as a democracy. Because on Monday, days before this country celebrates its independence from the British King, the Leonard Leo VI Supreme Court majority, in a ruling written by Chief Justice John Roberts, ruled as follows, quote, "Under our constitutional structure of separated powers, the nature of presidential power entitles a former president to absolute immunity from criminal prosecution for actions within his conclusive and preclusive constitutional authority."
Oh boy, King George would be so proud. What comes next? You being freed. Do you know
'tis to lead. You're on your own. Awesome. Wow.
And he is entitled to at least presumptive immunity from prosecution for all his official acts. There is no immunity for unofficial acts.
Oh, great, there is a silver lining. He can still be prosecuted for unofficial acts, just not official ones. Which are what exactly?
In regular people terms, the court has said that Donald Trump is absolutely immune from prosecution from any act that he took while he was president, including ordering the Justice Department to draw up fake voter fraud allegations in order to help him steal the election that he lost. They ordered the lower courts to
Oh, that's fascism. Cool. 248 years, almost to the day, good run. But I mean, come on. This is America, land of the free. How bad could it be?
But the bottom line of their ruling is as bad or worse than the worst case scenario that anyone except those of us who have figured out this court's utter depravity anticipated when Justice Sotomayor asked Trump's lawyer this question.
If the president decides that his rival is a corrupt person and he orders the military or orders someone to assassinate him, is that within his official acts that for which he can get immunity?
It would depend on the hypothetical, but we can see that could well be an official.
And now it is. So listen, I know Michelle Obama says when they go low, we go high, but listen, Joe, this immunity thing applies to you too, buddy. The FBI already went into Mar-a-Lago once. Maybe they could just finish the job. And look, I'm obviously kidding. That would be ridiculous. But Joe is far too good a man to do that, and it honestly wouldn't solve anything because that immunity applies to any president moving forward. Potentially even someone as evil as Donald Trump and twice as smart. That's the guy we want in charge of who runs the government?
Man, camera, TV. They say, that's amazing.
That's the guy we want in charge of picking who runs the government? Or rather, more likely, who he would tell, you're fired.
Want to implement the Project 2025 plan to fire 50,000 federal employees who failed to take the loyalty oath? Okay, let's go to page 28. The president's management of the executive branch requires him to have unrestricted power to remove the most important of his subordinates, such as the attorney general, in their most important duties. I mean, you have to be bold and decisive to implement the right-wing agenda, am I right?
Yeah. So, sad days for America, really. But hey, on the bright side, great day for all you Game of Thrones fans out there.
In other words, to put it in Game of Thrones terms, America now has a king and 6 hands of the king. Happy effing Independence Day.
Da 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 da